Hello, I'm John Shuttleworth, and welcome to Talkin Roman, the show about life in Britain under the Romans. Now, if you'd been alive 2,000 years ago, whose side would you have been on? The capable Celts who lived here already, or the racing Romans who invaded the country? That's what we'll be voting on here in the studio. Green for Celt, orange for Roman.
Green for Celt, orange for Roman. Green for Celt, orange for Roman.
Yeah! Thank you very much. Yes. Well, first let's remind ourselves who they were, these Romans and Celts. Celts were the original inhabitants of Britain. They were mostly farmers, metal workers and traders who lived in close-knit tribes. True, they spent a lot of time fighting each other, but they had a really well-organised society with great traditions. Now, the Romans had a great empire stretching out from Rome itself throughout Europe and North Africa. They conquered England, and the army laid down main roads connecting towns and cities. Their architects built huge towns with temples, shops, public baths and good facilities. But they were aggressive soldiers who governed fiercely. So, now we know something about them. Let's have a bit of a vote, shall we? Green for Celt, orange for Roman, and see what we think. Rocky Roman or capable Celt? Which would you rather be? Oh, is that right? You'd go Roman, would you? Well, we'll try a little bit later on and see if you've changed your mind. Because joining me here today in the studio will be some guests I've conjured back from the past to tell their side of the story. Also on the show, live by satellite from a very big museum, will be Roman expert, historian John FAIRCLOUGH. And looking for evidence out on location somewhere in England is Mark My Words. Mark, are you there?
Thanks, John. Yes, I'm in Colchester, Britain's oldest recorded town. The Celts were here, the Romans were here, and now I'm here, looking for anything these peoples might have left behind. This high street looks pretty 20th century, or is it? I don't know about the Celts, but the guidebook says that if I walk a few hundred metres down that road, I'll find something that is Roman. It's 2,000 years old, made of stone and still standing. Mark my words, Talkin Roman, Colchester town centre.
Right, thanks Mark, smashing. We'll be back to you later when we need a bit of evidence. Mark my words, big plan. Now then, the Romans came all the way from Italy just to conquer the Celts. But my first guest has come even further. He's come back from the past. And I know that he won't mind me telling you, he's almost 2,000 years old. So I bet he smells a bit. He's a soldier, a centurion, and he's a smashing fella to boot. Will you please welcome Centurion Mr. Marcus Facilis. Oh, look at that. Big lad, isn't it? Big lad. Please, take a pew. Take a pew. Well, you're looking very well for your age, Mr. Facilis. No, seriously. What exactly is a centurion?
I was in charge of 80 soldiers in a legion based in Colchester.
Ooh, why are you wearing a dress then? No, it's tunic, isn't it? But why did you come to England in the first place? It wasn't for the weather, surely. Mind you, it was quite nice yesterday afternoon, wasn't it?
We came for 3 reasons. First, to defend our province in Gaul.
Oh, that's France, of course.
There was a danger of attack from across the sea. We occupied Britain to counter that threat. Then there were commercial imperatives.
It means he needed to make some money.
Our empire needed supplies of corn, gold, silver, lead, all available in these islands. But most importantly, we had a vision. We wanted to bring the great benefits of Roman civilization to all the peoples of the world.
I see. And you enjoyed a scrap, didn't you? They were always fighting.
I dispute that we were always fighting. We brought peace. Now, obviously, we had to deal with Celtic troublemakers. But you must remember, when we first came to these islands, the Celts were just a disorganised rabble, constantly squabbling and fighting amongst themselves. We civilised them. We built towns, roads, temples, public baths. Throughout our empire, we brought civilisation and the rule of law.
So people should vote for your lot then, the Romans, because you brought peace, motorways and central heating, didn't you? Right. Has anyone in the audience got a question for Mr. Facilis, our centurion from Italy? Lass in the necklace.
What I want to know is, didn't you think it was wrong to kill people?
Yes, good point.
Well,
What about
we
that?
only killed people who would have killed us otherwise.
Oh, I see.
Obviously, we didn't enjoy killing, but we were soldiers, superior soldiers. We had better swords, better shields, better spears, and better discipline. We followed orders. That is why we were able to build the biggest and the best empire that the world had ever seen.
Right.
Yes, we did fight hard, but we worked hard too. You only have to look at all the things we've left behind.
Oh, you left some things behind, did you? Well, let's find out what they were. Mark my words. Have you found anything Romans like Mr. Facilis left behind?
John, Facilis may be right. The Romans were impressive. I'm standing at what used to be the main entrance into Roman Colchester. The arch above me covered the pedestrian footpath. On this side was a guardhouse for the security staff, the soldiers. On this side was a roadway for carts and horses. And look how they built the gate. Stone, brick, tile and mortar. A pub now stands on half of these remains, but there are actually two gates, one for coming into the city and one for coming out. I have also discovered that around Colchester the Romans built about 3 kilometres of stone walls, half of which are still standing. Mark my words, Talkin Roman, the Balkan Gate, Colchester.
Nice one, Mark. We'll catch up with you later. Now, never mind the Romans. What was a Celt like? Well, yeah, let's bring one on now. She's a woman, she's a warrior queen. Ooh. Will you please give a very warm welcome to a lovely lady, bags of personality, Queen of the Iceni.
Iceni!
It's Iceni, actually. Queen Boudica. Queen Boudica. Lovely.
It's Boudica, actually.
Are you sure? Thought it was Boudica.
Well, people get confused because they see it written down. They don't know how to pronounce it.
Oh, I see. Anyway, it's lovely to have you on the show. What have you been up to? Because your lot, the Celts, weren't particularly fond of the Romans, were you?
Well, the Romans decided they wanted to civilize us, and we didn't need to be civilized.
Oh, I see.
We were very good farmers. We had fine wooden houses.
Yeah, no central heating, though.
But we shared one fire. Now, we couldn't write or read, but then we had practical skills. The Romans brought over all these elaborate temples and buildings. We were happy praying in the open.
Yes, but you did turn a bit nasty towards the Romans, didn't you?
After my husband died, the Romans became very nasty indeed.
Oh.
They wanted all my family's wealth. They wanted to take our land. Do you know they even tried to take back the money they'd given us to develop our farm?
Really? Oh.
They
Oh.
treated us like slaves.
Oh.
I simply did what any mother would have done for her daughters.
Let them join the brownies.
I got Celtic warriors into the army and got them to fight those Romans.
Oh, you're taking a bit of a chance there, weren't you?
The people had had enough of the Romans' taxes and their temples. They wanted to drive the tyrants out of the country.
Oof.
Colchester wasn't defended, and so we wrecked it. And then we burnt down the temple of Claudius. We went on to St. Albans and London. And then revenge. We killed 2,000 of their best soldiers.
Oh, 2,000? That's terrible, isn't it? But tell me this, Boody. Did you really have daggers on your chariot wheels?
Where did you hear that?
It's common knowledge.
You can't believe everything you read in the history books, especially if it's written by a Roman.
Oh, right.
No, if I had to ride through my own troops, how could I have had daggers on my chariot wheels?
And you'd have failed your MOT as well, wouldn't you? Right, are there any questions for Queen Boudica? Sorry, Boudica. Yes, that young lady there.
You said you destroyed at least 3 towns during your revolt and killed thousands of people. Didn't you feel guilty?
Yes, yes, don't you feel guilty about that?
The Romans were very cruel, ruthless people.
Oh,
They were only interested in money. They constantly took things that weren't theirs,
did they?
and they expected the people to pay taxes.
Oh,
And what about their wall and the Balkan Gate? If these Romans are that strong, why did they need a big wall to hide behind?
that's true, yes. Good point.
We had to stop your violence. We wanted peace. Obviously, we had to defend ourselves and show our strength. Otherwise, your savages would have returned Britain to the sort of chaos we found when we came here.
Well, it's hotting up, isn't it? Would you rather have been a Celt or a Roman? We'll find out later. Hey, shut up! Let's have another question. That lad there.
Boudica, what could I have expected if I joined your side and lived like a Celt?
Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, what's about that?
The Celts were fine people. We crafted iron, silver and gold. We were the best and bravest fighters and raiders. And you see, for us, God was up here.
Oh.
And out there, in the streams and in the trees.
Oh, yes. We had to stop you making human sacrifices to your god, barbarians.
Were they?
We showed them what proper worship was. In the Temple of Claudius at Colchester, we showed you how to build towns with roads and shops.
Ah, well, yes, good point. Now then, Boudica, did the Celts have any roads or towns?
Well, we didn't have roads like the Romans, but we did have towns, and we built forts on hills. We had beautiful timber buildings, not as strong as stone, but we had them.
Right, right. So what you're saying is, you were just as civilized as the Romans, but in a different way.
Yes.
Right,
Exactly.
let's face facts, Facilis. It wasn't quite how you said it was. Boudica and her Celts, they were doing all right, weren't they? Mark my words. What did the Celts leave behind in Colchester?
Well, John, I'm 2 kilometres from the centre of Roman Colchester and having some trouble with Boudica's claims. The historians say the Celts had a town here called Camulodunum, but I can't see any traces of streets or buildings. There is nothing but a large burial mound over there and these ditches, lots of them. I've walked up them, across them, along them, around them, and I can confirm to you that they are ditches, or earthworks if you're an archaeologist, or the remains of a town if you're Boudica. Mark my words, Talkin Roman in a ditch near Colchester.
Oh, right, well.
That is one point of view. This programme is biased. It's outrageous.
Oh dear. Right, time now for a bit of music from our live band. I know you're going to love them. Here they are, Terracotta and the Mosaics.
Now the Romans invaded Britain and they defeated the Celts. They beat them down to the ground with a smack and a kick and a pound.
1, 2, 3, take it down.
The Romans created Latin law. They wore togas and sandals and built Hadrian's Wall. The gladiators were not too strong because they went in the arena for very long.
1, 2, 3, take it down. Oh, 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 Romans, Romans, once ruled all of Britain. Romans, Romans, give off some central healing. Romans, Romans, you really gotta meet 'em. Romans, Romans, 'cause later you get a beating.
So the Romans stuck around and set up towns and traded their goods with the whole world round. Their roads were straight to contemplate the qualities of their needs, so the postal service was never late, 'cause the manager was good and straight.
1, 2, 3, take it down. Oh, 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 Romans, Romans, once ruled all of Britain. Romans, Romans, give off some central healing. Romans, Romans, you really gotta meet 'em. Romans, Romans, complain and get a feeling.
Now the Romans came close to taking a fall, so they had an urge to build Hadrian's Wall. The emperor finished and got beaten by the goal. Now whose turn is it to rule?
Say hey, hey, say oh, oh, say hey, hey, oh, oh.
Say, I am an everyday Roman,
I am an everyday Roman,
everyday Roman.
everyday Roman.
Ah, Terracotta and the Mosaics. Fantastic. Respect. See you after the break.
Looking for the way to brighter shopping days. Everybody has to visit our store.
There's never been a better time to barter for a bargain at your local Centurion stores. Choose from our huge selection of fine tableware, specially imported from Gaul. Everything must go, and it's all half price at the Centurion Stores Monster Sale.
Living today, you know what you want.
now on.
Imagine an olive oil silky smooth, so versatile it can be used for cooking, cleansing and lighting. An oil rich in the natural ingredients of the Mediterranean. Flaminius olive oil, the oil of life.
Come and relax at the Strigil Bathhouse. You can unwind with an invigorating massage from our fully trained slaves. Order from a range of hot and cold snacks or catch up on some exercise. But don't leave without taking a soak in one of our heated baths. All our rooms feature cutting-edge hypercaust heating technology direct from Rome. At the Strigil Bathhouse, we guarantee you'll discover that leisure has never been so much pleasure.
Welcome back to Talkin Roman. Right, now then, Romans or Celts? Who exactly is telling the truth? Well, no, we don't know. To find out, live by satellite from a very big museum, will you please welcome Roman expert, historian John FAIRCLOUGH. Historian, or may I call you Hister? What do we know about these sort of houses that the Celts lived in?
Well, the evidence, John, that we find round here for these Celts living near Colchester is that they were living in big round timber frame houses with thatched roofs, because we find the evidence of the large posts that had rotted away in the ground, and we can still find the marks where they've been. And we also find that the great ditches they dug to enclose areas as big as a modern town to defend it, defend their towns against other Celts who might attack them.
But that's no defence. You can just pop in and out of a ditch, can't you?
Oh, those ditches were much deeper than you see them today. They were really pretty deep ditches, and they had a high bank on the inside for the defenders as well.
Oh, I see, right. And is Boudica right when she says that they were highly skilled artists and craftspeople?
We find the evidence of the objects they were making. We have the things that were buried with them in tombs where they had fine bronze objects, bronze brooches, elaborate metalwork decorated with enamel, complicated decoration on their mirrors, a lot of finely decorated stuff. And we also know that they were making gold coins around here in those days.
What sort of houses did the Romans live in then?
Well, the evidence we find in Colchester is of houses, square, solid, rectangular houses with tiled roofs and underfloor heating systems where the heating was stoked up by slaves working outside the house from a furnace room built on outside the room, so that the hot air then spread round under the floor, warmed the floor from down below, and got a nice steady temperature going on the mosaic floor that decorated it. And furniture which wouldn't look amiss in some modern houses. Their kitchens were well set up to prepare the food they wanted for dining as well.
And I understand they were keen shoppers, these Romans.
Well, out in the streets in Roman times here in Colchester, John, you'd have found rows of shops, some of them selling fine imported pottery, imported textiles. In other places you'd have found market areas for selling the local produce. Really a busy shopping scene, lots of trade going on.
Right, well, there you are. Rockin' Roman or cautious Celt? Which would you rather be? Well, don't make your mind up yet, because first let's meet my final guest. She's someone to represent the millions of people like me and you who never get a mention in the history books. Yeah. 2,000 years ago, she had a life of toil on the soil. Today, she's travelled through time to be with us here. Will you please welcome Celtic farmer, woman of the fields, Abundia? Come on. Oh. Hey! Look at that. Hey. Oh, stand down. Hey, come on there. This way. Down here. Hey. Oh, firm grip. Please, yeah, give her a big hand. Hey, push up, Bodie. Push up. Sit yourself down. Abundia. Now then, Abundia. No tractors, no fertilisers, no wellies for your wet feet. Oof. What was it really like to be a farmer in England 2,000 years ago?
Hard. Hard. It was hard as flint. We had to do everything. Well, we had to sow and reap and thresh.
What, you didn't have a family to help you?
Oh, yes. A big lump of a husband. He broke his leg, caught a fever and died.
Oh, sorry
that
to
was
hear
just after my twins were born. 2 more great lumps. Sons. And what did they do? Nothing for about 16 summers. And then one of them went off with those Romans when they started building the road. And then the other one went west with that fool Boudica.
Oh, So the Romans and the Celts weren't always fighting then? Does anyone have a question for Abundia? Oh, that lad in the flashy tie.
Well, John, my question is, which side would Abundia join, the Romans or the Celts?
Thank you, very nice question. Very good question.
I don't think I want to join anybody. I mean, I don't think I've got time to take sides. I just want to be me as I am. Well, as I was. A farmer. A fairly rich farmer, mind you. But a farmer selling corn to the Romans.
Right. Hey, History John, is there anything about Celtic farmers like Abundia in the big museum?
It's much more difficult to find evidence for the ordinary Celts of the time, John, over here, because they didn't write anything down. All their knowledge they had to remember all the time. So that for Abundia, we really have only the evidence of the sorts of tools they were using and the evidence that they were producing a goodly crop of corn they could sell to the Romans, and really seem to be pretty efficient farmers. But it's difficult to piece all the evidence together. For example, we can only tell something of their field system from where it was actually cut through by the Roman roads later on.
Yeah. Well, that's been very useful. I'm very grateful to you, John.
Thanks, John.
No, thank you, John. So, Abundia, you had a nice quiet life, didn't you, really? You were left to get on with it.
Wait a minute. Those Romans drove a road right through my best pastures.
Ooh.
They put down gravel and stones. What does it say about that in your museum?
Nothing in the museum, but at that Roman road, the one that ran through your fields, Abundia, is mark my words. Mark.
Yes, John, I'm at the site of a Roman road, still the routeway of today's traffic. My map shows that Celtic hedges were sliced in half by the road. The road was built by the Romans, so the fields must have been there first. Some Celtic farmers had to put up with a Roman motorway cutting through their corn. Mark my words, on the side of a Roman road, Talkin Roman, a long way from Colchester.
Mark, thanks for your help. Take care on those roads now. Mark my words. Big on. So, the Romans built towns like ours. The Celts built different ones. The Romans were organised. The Celts were brave. The Celts grew corn, but Celts and Romans ate it. Some Celts liked the Romans. Others didn't. Some Romans stayed and raised families, but others went back to Italy. Not so clear-cut, is it? Now then, Marcus Facilis, in a single sentence, why should we vote for you and your Romans?
We brought civilization, culture and peace.
Oh, I see. Boudica, in one sentence, why should we vote for you and your Celts?
We were happy as we were. We didn't need the Romans or their taxes.
And now, voting time is finally here. Remember, it's green for Celt, orange for Roman. Which would you rather be, rocky Roman or capable Celt? Let's turn back the clock and see. Oh, blimey, it's even Stevens. Well, here in the studio, the argument goes on. Look at the evidence yourselves and make up your own mind. Meanwhile, it's goodbye from Facilis, Boudica, Terracotta and the Mosaics, Abundia, mark my words, historian John Fairclough, and our noisy studio audience. And of course, me, John Shuttleworth, on Talkin Roman. See ya. Hey. Ah, nice one. Lovely.